What is the best armor in Valheim for the Mistlands update? Or even better, which armor set is the most efficient and grants you the highest chance of survival? In today's video, I'll give you a clear answer to that question based on multiple tests, as Seekers and Gyals are not your only enemies in the Mistlands. Heck, your biggest enemy might even be the visibility and the very terrain itself. This video will cover it all, from resistances to movement speed. I tested the top tier armor based on damage, endurance and stamina, so you know which armor set to equip for your next raid, so let's get right to it. There is more to armor sets than just their armor values and resistances, which in most cases is what people talk about first. However, there are two major important factors in play for the new biome. The mist, which limits your visibility to the extreme, and also the terrain, which can be very tough to traverse and become unforgiving to even deadly in situations with the wrong equipment. Of course, I'm also going to take into account the actual sprinting, block, parry and dodging capabilities on each. I decided to test the top tier sets in different situations. Armor versus Seeker and Gyals, as pierce and fire damage are quite common in this area, as well as stamina, endurance and speed tests to simulate your chances of survival when looking at the terrain, chasing down enemies, running away from them, and also be able to climb hills, etc. So, let's start off with the enemy damage, as this is probably the first case you worry about. And for this topic, I also want to give a shout out to Firespark81, as he made a great video explaining which armor would be the best specifically versus pierce damage. However, in my opinion, this specific damage type doesn't cover enough ground to determine what the best armor set would be for the Mistlands and Valheim in general. For this comparison, I'm gonna include Padded, Root and Fenris Armor, as I think these are the top 3 picks to prepare for the Mistlands biome. Alright, so let's start off with the armor test. I currently have the Padded Armor equipped as first one. It's all level 4, the armor which I'm gonna use, with a total value of 98 armor, as you can see. I definitely recommend you to upgrade your armor before you enter the Mistlands, but let's test this out versus a Seeker. As you can see, the Seeker deals about 20 to 30 damage against this armor on average, which is not that much, so you can tell that this is an ideal armor set if you want to be in the front line. Soak up their damage, tank some infested mines, let's say, but let's move on to the next armor set, the Root Armor. What's really nice about this armor set is that it comes with some pierce resistance, which you cannot see on the bonuses, let's say. Right now we also go all the way down from 98 to 44 armor value, so let's spawn in a Seeker and check out the damage. Look at that, the regular attacks of the Seeker only deal about 9 to 20 damage, while the leap attacks were pretty scary. They did a lot more damage against this armor versus the Padded. Now, let's move on to the Fenris Armor, which has a slightly higher armor value in comparison with the Root Armor, but this one doesn't come with any resistances versus the Seekers. So, if we spawn in one of these bad boys, you can tell that they literally hit like a truck. 50 damage right there, 40, and then another 30. So we're gonna have to heal up already, as this armor definitely isn't suited for soaking up Seeker damage. The highest hit, I think, was like 65, definitely scary numbers. Just pierce damage, of course, isn't everything. All the hazards in the Mistlands, let's say. So let's move on to the next damage type, Fire, which the Fenris Armor actually is very nice against, as the set comes with fire resistance, which is extremely nice versus Gyals. Alright, so there he is. Right now we've got 247 HP. Of course he misses the first shot, but let's check out the second one. Here it comes. As you can see, the acid bombs deal 35 to 40 damage on average per hit, while the damage takes afterwards are only 2 to 2.5 damage each. The fire resistance is definitely great versus Gyals, so you don't have to worry about dying versus this damage type, especially if you have a nice HP pool like we have in this testing. Anyways, let's move on to the next armor type, which is the Root Armor, and you're gonna be surprised how scary this one is. So let's get in position and heal up a little bit. Bam! Look at that. 47 initial damage and then 8.9 per tick. That's 9.2 right there. So with only 2 shots of the Gyal, we almost burned to death basically. Of course, you should always dodge these acid bombs, as that's your best way to survival. But let's move on to the Padded Armor right now. As you can see, the padded armor actually performs pretty well versus the acid bombs, with only 26 to 30 damage on average per bomb, while the damage ticks deal about 3 damage each. So it is pretty resilient, probably the best choice if you want to soak up damage versus both Seekers and Yalls, but this only assuming you actually want to soak up the damage, which is something you want to prevent at all times. So let's move on to all the other tests, which are very important to determine what could be the best armor for the Mistlands. The next test in line is the Endurance test, on which we're going to determine which armor set outperforms the other based on a field test to traverse 100 meters of flat terrain from A to B. See what the stamina drain will be for each set and also how fast it will take you from one place to another. This basically simulates different situations. If you just want to quickly travel from A to B, chase down enemies, or maybe even escape from sticky situations, all these aspects are key in Valheim, so let's check out every single set. Alright, so the weather is perfect for a nice sprint. We're gonna do 100 meters. And I'm also gonna eat a pretty balanced diet right here with some snacks which give me a nice amount of HP, which would be a great combo to enter the Mistlands. Our stamina bar goes all the way up to 167, while our HP bar doesn't really matter right now. But let's start off with the padded armor, which basically comes with some movement speed penalties, which makes it without doubt the slowest armor set of the three. So right now we've got a movement speed reduction of minus 10%. I'm not going to equip my weapons and armor just yet, so we're just going to sheath it on our backs. But we're going to stand exactly right here and run all the way to the finish line. See how much stamina it will drain? Let's go. So there you have it. We went from 167 to 64. So a lot of stamina drain. Next up, we're going to check out the root armor. So we've got 165 right now, as we have diminished food. We went slightly below half of the stamina bar, which is not that bad. And you can definitely tell that the root armor is a lot faster in comparison with the padded, with a total of minus 4% speed. Anyways, let's check out the Fenris Armor right now, which actually comes with a movement speed bonus with 3% each, a total of 9%. So this one is gonna be without doubt the fastest of three. So we currently have 162 stamina, so let's run to the other side. Look at that, we didn't even deplete half of the stamina bar, while we definitely started with a smaller one in comparison with the padded. For the next test case, we're gonna equip both sword and shields and see how fast you will run with these armor sets equipped, as in some situations versus, for example, dead skeetos, ticks or giants, you wanna have these equipped at all times so you can parry at the right moment. And right here you can definitely tell that the padded gear is so slow. It's simply not fun to sprint around with this one, while at the same time it also has the highest stamina drain. So that means it will be tougher to escape from sticky situations with the padded armor and then the roots, while you will also have less stamina left to parry, dodge roll or block attacks in comparison with Fenris, let's say. I think these are very important factors to keep in mind when deciding on picking up a certain armor set. Before we move on to the ultimate test for Mistlands terrain traversal, the climb, I also want to show you guys the stamina drain when you perform jumps and dodge rolls, let's say, as these numbers also vary greatly for each armor set. So, alright, so I currently have 210 stamina to be exact, as well as the padded armor equipped. So every time when we perform a jump, we basically drain 11 stamina, so from 210 to 199. So that means we can basically jump 20 to 21 times before stamina runs out, which is a pretty nice amount, but if we compare this with the other armor, you're gonna be surprised. So right now with the root armor equipped, with a total bar of 205 as our food diminished a little bit, every time when we jump we go to 195, so that means a stamina drain of 10 instead of 11. So even though our food diminished in quality, we still managed to perform one jump extra. So that means if we had the exact same stamina bar, we were actually able to jump more often with this armor set. While if we equip the Fenris armor, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that Every time when we jump with 202 stamina, we go to 193. So that means 9 drain instead of 10. So even though with diminished food once again, I was able to perform almost 25 jumps. So you can tell that with all the different armor sets, depending on your movement speed bonuses and penalties, this will also determine the amount of stamina you're gonna drain every time when you sprint, jump, or even roll. I don't think I have to explain this a lot more, but let's just check out how much stamina it will cost to perform a dodge roll. So right now we're at exactly 198. If we roll, we go to 182. So now switching to the root armor, we go from 197 to 182. So that means it's cheaper. While with the Fenris gear, we go from 197 to 183. So once again, cheaper. I'm not sure about you guys, but I find stamina drain a lot more important in comparison with raw armor values. Of course, you're gonna need some armor, but in the end, you wanna avoid taking damage at all times. And that is where the stamina drain comes in. The more dodge rolls you can perform, the more parries, the more you can sprint, basically determine your survival capabilities, block enemy attacks, run away from sticky situations, and also traverse difficult terrain, which the Mistlands is filled with. So let's move on to the ultimate test. The test is pretty simple. Go from platform A to B and also as quick as possible and see what the stamina drain is in comparison with each armor set. You can definitely tell that the padded armor struggled the most, but on this specific terrain, the root armor didn't score much better. I basically had to stand on the exact same ledge to regain stamina, so I was able to finish the climb and get to the platform, while with the Fenris armor, boy oh boy, it was a lot easier to scale this terrain. I even had a smaller stamina bar as I already had diminished value on my food. So, now my conclusion, my verdict on the best armor in the game, for the Mistlands and also in the Mistlands, after you even got your hands on the Carapace armor. After you've seen all these tests, you'll probably know that I am pretty pro on the Fenris armor. And that is simply because it's the best one out there regarding the stamina drain, traverse from A to B as quick as possible, survive sticky situations by simply dodge rolling, blocking, parrying enemy attacks, and also climb mountains a lot easier, which we're gonna have to do a lot in the Mistlands. But of course, this one also comes with its downsides, as you will also become pretty squishy with it, as it has the lowest armor value if we take the pierce resistance into account of the root armor. But if you're not very good at dodging, I would definitely recommend going with the padded gear, as it's a fantastic tank armor, especially for the infested mines. But even once you can upgrade this to the Carapace gear, I would still stick with the Fenris, as all those benefits mentioned are simply too good to leave it be. If you want to have the hands down best armor combo in the game though, if you want to have a little bit of extra forgiveness, say if you get hit by enemies every now and then, the armor values do count sometimes, and in that case, what you can do is get rid of your Fenris helmet and instead go with the Carapace once you unlock it, because helmets actually don't come with movement speed penalties. So then you can basically benefit of the highest armor value on your head slot, which is 34, while you will still have a very nice movement speed bonus with a total of plus 6%. Still make you very quick on the battlefield, make it easy to scale terrain, with a total of 68 armor points. Personally though, I just keep rocking with the Fenris hood, as I think it's hands down the coolest combo to wear. A feather cloak as well as the full Fenris armor makes you look like a total badass, and if you know how to block a little bit, I don't think you really need the extra armor. There's already plenty of food which can turn you into a juggernaut, and the fire resistance is gonna be just fine versus the ghouls. But if you want to tank a boss or run a couple of infested mines with your buddies, I think the Carapace set is gonna be awesome for tanking, be the big boy in the front line. Or well, that is what I suggest you to do. Ladies and gentlemen, a big thanks for watching. That's basically everything I wanted to talk about. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you also love the Fenris armor, or do you prefer a little bit of extra tankiness with the padded, or maybe go with the root? Love to hear your thoughts, but that is it for today. If you enjoyed watching this video, if you found it helpful, make sure to hit that like button, as I spent a lot of time working on this video. And of course, if you want to stay in the loop with more Valheim, don't hesitate to subscribe, as there is a lot more coming your way. Right now it is 4 AM out. I want to wish you an awesome day. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.